I finished 100 episodes of One Piece 2 months ago. So I thought what I could do, and I mean, I'm at episode 100, and on my Patreon account, I'm on episode 120. I'm a decent amount into the hundreds of One Piece, but I thought what I could do is make a video just looking back on the first 100 episodes of One Piece and going over some of my favorite bits of it, because it's quite a long series, and I think it's good to appreciate the moments that we've had along the way. So I decided today to do a top 5 list of my favorite moments, and while I was making the list, I realized there is actually kind of a lot that happens in these 100 episodes that are really good. Like, a lot of it tends to just get caught up in like, oh, it's this one big adventure, and I'm very focused on what's happening at the time that I'm watching the certain episodes. But there's a lot that happened and a lot of really great moments. So I tried to choose my favorite 5 parts of One Piece. I'm also going to accompany them with like little clips of my reactions to those episodes. But if you want to watch the reaction videos themselves, they're all on my channel, so you can go check them out. And also my Patreon account has the full-length reactions as well as early access, so there's more One Piece reactions on my Patreon than there is on my YouTube channel, so you can go check all of that stuff out if you want to see how I reacted to it in the context of the episode. But anyway, we're going to be getting into going through this top 5 list. Now, this is just purely the top 5 list in terms of how much I enjoyed them, how much they impacted me. This is all based on my own personal bias. This is all based on the way that I felt emotionally while watching these episodes. It might be kind of different to other people's lists. There might be some crossover there, but I'm sure there's going to be a few things in there that other people won't think is as impactful, but I thought was really cool. So let's get into this. I'm going to start from 5 and move all the way up to 1. I also have some honorable mentions because there are some moments in this in One Piece that I thought deserve a little bit of a nod but didn't make the top 5 list. But let's start with number 5. At number 5, we have in episode 53, the prologue being completed. Okay, what's this guy's deal? That entire section where we basically finish what most people would consider to be the prologue of One Piece, the East Blue Saga. So I think this episode and this whole ending to that arc was really cool, and it had a few moments that make me like remember it when I'm looking back on it. There's the excitement of the Grand Line, right? They built up the Grand Line so much, and I genuinely thought at the time that the Grand Line wasn't going to come until like episode 400, you know? So the fact that we were on episode 53 and we were reaching the Grand Line was so exciting to me. And so the prologue being like building up to that, it did a great job because it kept having this like sort of dangerous thing happen, and these people basically trying to stop them from getting to the Grand Line. What? What are you doing? Whoa! He's gonna grab him? Hey! Wow. So they actually just escaped because of this wind guy. But just that constant building of excitement was awesome. On top of that, we get introduced to Smoker. And Smoker is a great character with an awesome design and a cool power. And on top of that, he is one of the first characters, or like not including someone else that we'll mention later, but he's one of the first characters that the crew are no match for. You know, they can't beat. Damn. He doesn't seem to be that fazed by it though. Luffy loses, straight up loses against Smoker, and he is saved by someone else. So I think that's really cool because it shows like they're going to the Grand Line, the most dangerous place out there. There are going to be people who are at the very least as strong as Smoker, and they can't even beat him right now. So it really plays up the danger of the Grand Line. It sets Smoker up as an ongoing character, maybe ongoing villain, or maybe not. It depends on how they take it, but he follows them. He brings Tashigi along. It's great because we have those characters that are now going to be reoccurring characters and come back later in the show. And on top of that, there's also an introduction to a character called Dragon. I don't think we've seen him again since in the episodes that I've watched, which is up to episode 120. I don't think he's popped up in those, those episodes, but he's clearly going to be somewhat of an important character because he was a very ominous, mysterious character, and he comes out of nowhere basically and saves them. So it's definitely setting up some crazy future stuff, which is really cool as well. I think the only disadvantage of this prologue is kind of something that was caused by the anime, which is right after this episode they have a filler arc, which kind of breaks up the pacing and the excitement, and it kills the momentum that they built up to that point. But I think this deserves the 5 spot for me because it had that momentum going so well. Okay, at number 4 we have from episodes 23 and 24 Hawkeye vs Zoro. That reaction, it's not Hawkeye, is it? There's no way. So this entire part of the show was completely unexpected to me, and I think you'll see that in my reactions. But Zoro's reacting like it is. Oh my god, what? Because it was this introduction of this character that I, again, thought we wouldn't see for hundreds of episodes. Now, I'm watching this show from the perspective of someone who knows One Piece is a show with over 1,000 episodes. So I'm watching it with a modern idea of it, while people at the time, they don't know that this is going to go for 1,000 episodes. So they might not have had that same feeling at the time that, oh, he'll show up in 400 episodes time or whatever. But for me, watching it now, I totally didn't expect. I thought they were setting up for so far in the future, and they kind of are, but he shows up in the same episode that they mention him, and he's terrifying, and he's really strong, and it's a great introduction of, again, how powerful these enemies are that they're eventually going to face. Because it's easy to fall into the trap early on of thinking like, hey, maybe our main characters are like too overpowered, but they're not. They're very strong, but so is many of the pirates that go to the Grand Line. It really shows how cool Zoro is and what he's working for, and it shows the room that he's got to grow as well. Like, Hawkeye is what he is aspiring to be at the very least, that's his bar. Even though he seems like an incredible swordsman, he's still down here, So I think it's a really cool introduction to the character. Hawkeye's got a cool design. It's a good introduction to the Warlords of the Sea or whatever they're called. I think it's a great episode. Oh! Was he just stabbed in the heart? Oh my god. Oh my god, isn't that the heart? Okay, at number 3, and this might be the one that a lot of people wouldn't share their opinion on this being in their top 5, but for me, it's the explosion scene of Igaram. What? Essentially, the reason I put this on the list is because episode 67, which is the episode where it happens, is personally, and this is strange, this is my favorite episode of One Piece that I've seen so far. Out of all of the 120 episodes that I've seen, episode 67 jumps out to me as my favorite episode. I was rewatching the episode and my reaction to the episode in preparation for this video, and I again forgot just how much there is in that episode that they set up this arc perfectly. I still haven't finished the Alabasta Saga on my reactions and stuff, so I don't know how Alabasta Saga ends yet. But the setup that happens in episode 67 is great. It moves from this like sort of bounty hunter arc where it feels like, oh, the bounty hunters are coming for Luffy and the crew. It transfers from that into this different arc of where we are saving a country. Now, this country is being attacked by these bounty hunters. It's not us, it's this country, and we need to save them. It changes this villain in Miss Wednesday to this great part of the crew, Vivi. What a crazy scene, and what the hell? Is this her? Whoa, she has her own little screen. Who now is one of my favorite characters in One Piece from these episodes that I've seen. I really love her. The episode sets up Alabasta Saga. The episode introduces us to Crocodile by name and basically creates him as this terrifying figure, which they live up to in later episodes. Crocodile, 7 Warlords of the Sea. Wait, oh, is that the boss? The explosion of igaram is shocking. It comes out of basically nowhere, and it's one of the most shocking parts of One Piece that I've seen so far. Huh? What? Oh my god. Oh my god, that's terrifying. On top of that, it is gorgeous. Like, I remember the visuals of that explosion so well. The way that they're lit up by the explosion and like everything sort of stained red. And like everyone is really shocked, and the sound design is great, and it has like Nami and Vivi, like Nami hugging Vivi, and that got me super emotional. So that whole section was really good. And if all of that wasn't enough, they introduced Miss All Sunday right after that, who is another character that I absolutely love. I love her design, I love her voice acting, I love her, I mean, her powers are super interesting. The only thing that was crazy is introducing her name, Miss All Sunday, which I think is really, really funny, but also one of the dumbest names One Piece has come up with so far. But it's just a great episode from start to finish. If I had to just like watch an episode of One Piece from start to finish, that episode is the most packed in terms of entertainment value for me that there is in One Piece. So episode 67, absolutely my favorite part of One Piece so far, and that specifically that explosion scene of Igaram, which is so shocking, is yeah, in my top 5. That is number 3. At number 2, we have a really, really early part of the show. This is from episode 4. And that's Luffy's backstory, with Shanks specifically. So is Shanks still alive? If he is, we might be able to meet him. That episode does such a great job at setting up why the heck we should care about this adventure, and why we should care about Luffy, and why we should care about Shanks. I mean, right away, it gives us kind of a traditional little bit of a backstory, but I think Shanks is an interesting enough character that it really sells it. I think, like, straight away, you have this scene where those guys are coming into the bar, and Shanks basically is bullied by these like random dudes, and you think, oh, this is the perfect place for a bar fight to show how cool Shanks is, and they don't do that. Shanks just lets them do it, and it goes, who gives a shit? Like, they're just random people like trying to ruin our good time. Let's not let them. I think it's a really great introduction to Shanks, who he is. It doesn't do the cliche, and it does some great stuff. On top of that, it introduces the Devil's Fruit and what it does for Luffy, and also it introduces the Devil's Fruit's weakness. Oh, he can't swim? Really? Okay, for a pirate, that's actually massive. So that's his main weakness. His downside is that he can't swim, which is a crazy part of the series and sets up our main character's major flaw, combat-wise. You know, his major weakness is the fact that he can't swim, even though he's a pirate. You know, he is not able to go in the water. And that is a crazy, crazy thing to set up, that even now, when I think back on it, I forget that weakness, and then whenever it comes up, I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that is an insane weakness for a pirate to have. I think it's a great introduction to the character. It's great motivation. The part where Shanks loses his arm is like a really beautiful scene, because he lost his arm, but he doesn't even care. He just cares about taking care of Luffy, and he's like, it's just an arm, you're safe, that's all I care about. Oh my god. What? Oh, wow. And the whole giving of the hat to Luffy is a perfect setup for wanting to go after Shanks so that he can be a better pirate than he is, and maybe return the hat one day. I don't know. So those were numbers 5 to 2. Now, before we get to number 1, I'm just going to give a few honorable mentions. I won't talk much about these, but first one is the Kuro twist. No! Oh, he tricked me! Luffy. I really thought he was the coolest guy. Second one is Zoro versus the 100 bounty hunters of Baroque Works. Oh, pulled him into the shots. Very nice. Third one is Luffy's climb. No! Oh my... Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I can't watch that. And the last one is the introduction and the meeting of Ace, as well as the reveal that he is Luffy's brother. Yeah, it's his brother. What the hell? Okay, now we're at number 1. The moment in One Piece that I probably remember the most. The moment that sticks out to me as possibly the most well done. And the moment that, like, is this moment being chosen as number 1 is influenced heavily by my own bias as well, which is a wonderful thing about this channel. I have huge biases, and I make sure they are very clear in every single video so that people understand why I feel the way that I do. Number 1 moment is episode 37 of One Piece, and I think a lot of people would understand this because I remember even beforehand people telling me that episode 37 was a banger, but when I got up to it, it was a banger. Episode 37 is when Nami is basically at her lowest point. Ah! Oh my god! Oh! And we have essentially her pleading to Luffy to help her. Specifically, the Luffy help me line is absolutely beautiful. That's like Shanks does to him. Because we are seeing her at her weakest. Now, seeing a sort of like damsel in distress is something that you see in a lot of media, but the thing is, Nami was never that character. Up until that point, she did not feel like a character that needed to be saved by anyone. She was self-dependent. She was controlling her own destiny. When she asked Luffy for help, it doesn't feel like, oh, we need the man to come and save her. It feels like this is just a human being who is at her breaking point. She has gone through and fought for herself for so very long, and everything around her is crumbling, and she's just reaching out for the first time, reaching out so that someone else can grab onto her hand. I think that's amazing. On top of that, Luffy putting the hat on her head is beautiful symbolism, and it's the way that he like comforts her. Obviously, it leads on to Luffy beating Arlong and shouting that, Nami, you're my friend and stuff. That's all really incredible. But the episode also just basically shows off the core aspect of the series, which is so important. There are so many characters and there's a big crew, and so ultimately the question comes down to, why does everyone follow Luffy, who is by all accounts kind of an idiot, you know, and is very strong, but he's not at most times, he's not necessarily the strongest person in the world. We've seen him lose several times. But why do people follow Luffy? This episode shows exactly why they do. He is reliable, he is caring, he's emotionally intelligent. He is a great character and a great leader, and you can totally see why after this episode, Nami would stay by Luffy's side, as would everyone else on the crew, because he takes care of his crew, he respects them, and he will break off a shark's nose for them. It's amazing. I love episode 37. It's incredible, and it's the episode that stands out to me the most, so that's why I put it number 1 on my One Piece top 5 moments list. Thank you for joining me for my countdown of the best 5 moments of One Piece. I hope you enjoyed it. This was only for the first 100 episodes. There are some moments in episodes 101 to 120 that I think maybe could have made the list, but they're not eligible. Maybe if you guys enjoyed this, once I've reached episode 200, I'll do another list. That's episodes 101 to episodes 200. I don't know. regardless, let me know if this is a sort of video that you enjoyed, and if you want to see my One Piece reactions, they're all on my channel, and there are full-length reactions on my Patreon account as well, so you can go check those out. Thank you for watching this, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.